Tim hooked up yet? He's okay, okay. Okay. I'll call this regular session of the Greenville City Council meeting to order, and please stand for the invocation offered by Pastor Kenneth Freeman, Council Place 6's Assembly member. Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we just come tonight thanking you for who you are and what you're about to do for this council meeting. Thank you for those that came out to listen and to learn, Lord. And we just pray that you guide us with wisdom and knowledge in making wise decisions for the people that we represent. And Lord, we just give you all the honor and glory for everything that you are doing in our life and everything that you are not doing. Thank you, Father, and that we give you the praise, the glory, and the honor. This we pray in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kenneth. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to call your attention to, there are no presentations tonight. I'd like to call your attention to two placeholders that are in our agenda tonight. Citizens to be heard. There are no public hearings. Citizens to be heard are opportunities for citizens to address the council on items that are not on the agenda. And then, of course, there's public testimony to address the citizens on items that are on the agenda, starting with ordinances tonight. That would be 7A. Are there citizens to be heard? Please state your name for the record and your address, please.
My name is Matthew Middleton. I live at 605 Deer Drive here in Greenville. It's 75402. I wanted to bring attention to the council the date of April 8th, 2024. I know that's 3 years away, but I don't know how much planning is going to happen. I don't know if anyone knows what that date is, but it is the second Great American Eclipse, and it's going to be coming straight through over the top of us.
Right.
The totality will be here, and between here and Commerce, and it goes right through Emory all the way down to West Tawakoni. Because of that, in the 2017, I was in Missouri when I saw that with my family, and in this little bitty town, and there was tons and tons of people there. And I just wanted to bring the attention that this is a good opportunity for our city to make money. Also, there's a logistic problem with probably more law enforcement is going to be needed because we're probably going to have tons and tons of people here in this city. So that's what I was coming up to talk to you guys about, and that's basically all I have. I just wanted to bring forth the information so that way that I didn't know if anyone knew about it, but I just want to make a public record that someone has said something about it.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
I have friends from Colorado that are planning to come on that date, so thank you.
Betty Monday.
Okay.
Yes, my name is Betty Monday, 3414 West Marshall Street here in Greenville. 3-4 quick things. The first thing is I'm trying to see if we can get more restaurants in Greenville. We need something like Golden Corral, something more than Mexican restaurants, fast food places, and Chinese places. Number 2, we want to know if we can get another energy company besides GEUS or whatever it is. Second thing. Third thing, when I was in Shenandoah, text my voice is coming and going because I just got out of the hospital. But anyway, when I was in Shenandoah, Texas, it's a suburb of Houston, the hotel where we stayed had an area for handicapped kids, and so I had a handicapped grandson who passed away last year. But I was wondering if we could get handicapped accessible places for our city parks, so that when the kids go in wheelchairs, they don't just have to sit and watch the others swing or have a good time. So it's not a real big hill point to climb, because we checked it out when we were in Shenandoah. So we talked with some people there, and they said it's really not a whole lot that you have to do to get accessible things for handicapped kids. Number 4, they're working on Sales Street. We all know that. So my thing is, when I had my surgery, My sister had to come to Greenville to get my car. Her daddy brought her here to pick my car. Because just as I got out of the hospital, a van hit us on 30. So we had to go back to the hospital that state a couple more days. But anyway, on Sale Street, if you're not familiar with Greenville, you don't know how to go, where to go. You're following your GPS. Okay, so they followed their GPS from Wesley Street to Sale Street. When they got down past, I don't really know streets that well in Greenville. But anyway, where they're building some little homes right there, it was a deep hole, no cones, no lights, no nothing. So they sent me a picture of his car. I told them that they should have called the police, but they were not thinking, which I would not have been thinking either. But now he's going to have to file on his insurance to get his car door fixed, but it has a big dent in it, because when he hit it, the car went down, and it hit his, anyway, it messed his door up. So that's something else that needs to be done. When they're working on the streets, there should be cones, flashes, flares, or whatever it is. But anyway, I wanted to bring that to your attention too. It's a lot of construction being done, which is good, I guess. But anyway, it's just some things we need to be aware of. So I think that's it. But I really, really, really wanted to address the handicapped accessible parks.
Thank you, Ms. Mundy. We, as you know, we're in the process of deciding what to do with Austin Park. We're going to put some park equipment out there, and I think the city staff would be glad to meet with you and get some of your ideas on how we could help the handicapped children and handicap in that area. So they'll be contacting you regarding that, I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
Tracy Couch.
Yes, my name is Tracy Crouch, 1121 Seminole Lane, Greenville, 75402. And I would like to speak tonight concerning the issues on Roy Warren Parkway. There have been many issues with the mowing. It has gotten better. I appreciate that. But there is a drainage ditch that the city put in right behind my neighborhood.
Could you
Yes.
get closer to the
Right
there?
behind
Thank
my
you.
neighborhood, which is the Cedars. Several years ago, the city put in a concrete drainage ditch there. That ditch is never maintained. It is never maintained. You could hide a small animal zoo in that ditch, and it is literally 2 to 3 feet from the back fences of a lot of my neighbors. I sent some pictures that I had taken to all the council emails, and so you might, if you don't have time tonight, there's some that you can look at them. But there are small trees growing in that drainage ditch. It's not even a matter of mowing now. It is a matter of, I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know what it would take, but it just is never maintained. And even when they mow around it, it's still not maintained. And I just, like I said, we've seen coyotes, we've seen rats. I can't imagine the people that are backing up that drainage ditch, what they have coming into their backyards. And there's even areas where the fire hydrants are covered up along Roy Warren. So I would appreciate and invite you to come drive down Roy Warren. My phone number is on my Citizens to be Heard. I would be happy to drive along with any of you and show you the issues that we're dealing with as a neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jana Rose.
My name is Jana Rose, and I'm at 2304 Park Street. And I'm here again this evening to talk about the trash issues with City Council. I addressed this issue, I think, a month ago, last month,
Yes.
I don't recall. My trash was picked up every time it was supposed to be for 4 weeks. And starting this last month, every Wednesday consecutively, they have missed my trash. I have called over and over and over. The last time that I called Waste Connections, I got a response from the woman saying I was putting my trash in the wrong place. It is documented as of 6 months ago with Juice through emails with Waste Connections as to where my trash is supposed to be placed. From what I'm finding, when I speak to Waste Connections, there's never an I'm sorry, there's never an apology, there's always an excuse. And to be frank, I'm done. I think I sent you an email, Mr. Mayor, on September 16th requesting for us to be able to hire a different trash company to service our address. We do not have the time to call Waste Connections. I appreciate you guys being here, but we don't have the time to bring our family in here over trash. We also don't have the time to load it up and pay to take it to the dump. I don't know what else we can do. Apart from calling the city manager's office, emailing the mayor, showing up here and contacting our representatives, I ask what you want us to do. You know, this has been since February, so, and we are paying for the service.
Well, I think someone from city staff can contact you if you'll make sure you have their, I'm sure we have your contact information. We'll contact you and see. I am aware that that the calls regarding trash pickup have, there are fewer calls now. I think the service overall across the city, I know it hasn't for you, but I believe that the reports that we get from Juice, who does the billing for us, there are not as many complaints as there have been. It's not perfect yet, but it is better. But I understand your situation, and I remember you being here, and we'll have somebody from the city staff talk to you and work with the problem.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
That's all.
Are there any more citizens to be heard?
No.
No, okay. Okay, then we'll move right into Ordinance 7A, consideration and action on ordinance extending an employment agreement with Daniel Ray as city attorney for the city of Greenville. What is the pleasure? Is there public testimony on this issue?
No.
No public testimony. What is the pleasure of the council regarding this issue?
I make a motion to approve the contract and include a 10% increase in base fee.
I would second that motion.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Please vote. Did Tim vote? Okay, good. Okay, item 7B, consideration action order on an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a police department access control system upgrade. Will Cole.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and Manager. Everybody's aware we have a radio project that's going to begin, and part of that radio project is going to include the remodel of our current police and fire communications center. That remodel is necessary for the new equipment, new radio equipment, and consoles, along with furniture that will be needed when that new system arrives. In preparation for that, one of the components that ties into our dispatch office is our access control system that controls all of our access inside the building as well as outside, and our secured gate that enters our rear secure parking lot. So we're asking that you allow us to spend the funds from the existing radio infrastructure project where funds were placed for the consultant fees. There's sufficient funds there to spend the $51,650 that we need to replace the control system, the card readers, and our toll tag reader that control that access, which all ties back into our communications center.
Okay. Are there any questions, council, regarding this? Is there any public testimony regarding this issue? No public testimony. That being so, what's the pleasure of the council regarding this issue?
Move to approve.
I second.
There's a motion and a second. Please vote. And motion. Terry, did you vote?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You vote affirmatively? Oh, it is? Okay, I'm looking over there. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Item 7C, consideration and action on an ordinance authorizing a purchase from Core and Maine for meters and boxes. Press.
Yes, sir. Good evening. What we're asking for is this is money we already had budgeted in the 2021 budget for more meters and set, so what we're asking for is to spend the rest of the money in our budget, go ahead and buy the rest of these meters that we need for our water system.
Okay. Is there public testimony regarding this issue? If not, what is the pleasure of the council? Any comments, any questions for press? If not, what is the pleasure of the council then?
I would make a motion to authorize the purchase.
There's a motion. Is there a
Coordinate for
second?
meters and boxes.
I second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Please vote. Tell me which screen to look at, Al. Okay,
Look at
it passes unanimously. That one can't keep up. Yeah, it is. I don't know. Okay, thank you, press. You're up next. Item 7E, consideration and action on an ordinance authorizing a professional service agreement with Hanson Professional Services, Inc.
Oh, we skipped D.
7E.
Oh, we have 7D.
Oh, we
7D.
Oh, we do. I'm sorry. What? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, consideration and action on an ordinance authorizing a professional services agreement with Signature Automation LLC. I'm very sorry.
Yes, sir, this is our SCADA system. This was part of the water bond that was passed, I believe, in early 19. We finally have come to an agreement with this company to design and install our SCADA system, which helps us run the water plant automatically and give us good readings on pressure readings, flow, and everything else. Like I said, this was budgeted in that water bond, and the monies are available to cover this service agreement.
Okay. Is there public testimony regarding this issue? No public testimony. Any questions for press from the council?
Just a quick question. This design is going to carry us into the future, right?
Absolutely.
With all the improvements and
This
expansion.
This is the state of the art, everything that we're looking for that will carry us well into the future of what we need to run the water plant.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I second.
There's a motion, a second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Now we can move to item 7E, consideration and action on ordinance authorizing a professional services agreement with Hanson Professional Services, Inc.
Yes, sir. As we know, we've been concentrating a lot on our water system and providing water. The flip side of that is we're increasing our wastewater too. And TCEQ requires us, when we get to a certain percentage, that we have to start analyzing and preparing for a sewer plant upgrade. What this does, this keeps us in line with TCEQ, starting the preliminary engineering and analysis of what we do to expand our wastewater plant. What I'm asking is use some of the bond money that we passed with the water line, which was allocated for water and sewer projects, to use the $121,000 out of that money to do this engineering report that we have to have for TCEQ.
And this is triggered when we get to 75% of
Yes, sir.
potential usage.
Right. And we are there. Our plant's rated at $6 million, and we're pumping a little over $4 million now.
Okay. Is there public testimony regarding this issue? No public testimony. Members of the council have questions regarding this? Any questions? Okay, is there a motion regarding this?
I make a motion to approve.
I second it.
Motion is second, please vote. And it passes unanimously.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Moving to resolutions, 8A, consideration and action of a resolution amending authorized representatives, banking representatives. Talia.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This resolution will essentially just change the authorized users for several accounts to include JP Morgan Chase, PFM, Texas Term, Logic, Techstar Class, and TexPool. We're just removing myself and adding our new finance director.
Okay. Is there public testimony regarding this issue? No public testimony. I assume there are no questions for the council regarding this rather routine issue. Is there a motion?
Move to approve?
Okay,
Second.
okay. There's a motion and a second. Please vote. Okay, passes unanimously. Resolution 8B, consideration action on a resolution establishing criteria for redistricting of political boundaries. Daniel Ray.
This has been in front of you several times before. This is something we've been planning for about, I think 4 years was the first time council considered this. We hired Allison Bass, law firm down in Austin, to handle that for us. The county also hired Allison Bass for that. There's some requests that they have that they want the city to sign off on as far as what our direction is going to be for how we handle the redistricting. There's a whole lot of history here that goes back to the Civil Rights Act in the 60s, and then some recent Supreme Court decisions from the last 10 to 15 years related to what certain states had to do. Texas was one of a small number of states that was effectively punished in the 60s because there was widespread Jim Crow laws and other laws that were specifically created for the purpose of hurting minority voting rights. Some of what they're asking here is basically for the city to sign off on things that are a very basic bare minimum to address those issues. And so I think the first time I saw this was about 6 weeks ago, and I was somewhat worried about some of the things in there, but after looking at the law, it's very clear that everything that they're asking the city to approve is things that the city's going to have to do anyway. This is basically an exercise in creating some client expectations so that we all know what it is that we're looking at, especially when it comes to redistricting districts that were formerly majority-minority districts. We don't, from the best that I can tell, looking at the information that's come out from the Census Bureau, this city is very different in its racial makeup among the districts than it was a few years ago. But by agreeing to the things that they're asking for and following those general requirements, the city should be able to, especially with the group that is going to be appointed for this process, respect all of the potential racial issues and then the other issues related to different lines being drawn, especially down in District 1, because that is the Place 1 area has a huge majority of the town. It's going to have to be split up, but it, for the most part, is white and Hispanic. And so there's going to be automatically some general overall issues with differences in minority voting power in the 6 districts. And I think that the thing that they're asking the city to approve, which the county has already approved in the same format, will go a long way to address those and prevent the city from falling into a litigation danger situation.
When will this redistricting process start now that we've engaged somebody to do this? Is the data available now to begin the process?
Some of it, not all of it. And that part's already started. Basically what they do is they get GIS overlay maps from the Census Bureau, and then they feed those through several different computer algorithms that look at population density, size in the area, and with a real specific goal of keeping minority voting rights intact to the greatest extent possible. That's a multi-month process, and we don't know exactly when all that's going to happen because it to some degree comes down to what the legislature is going to do in the upcoming special session related to redistricting there, because that's going to have an impact on when the next elections are going to be, and will probably have an impact on the timeline of this project. We don't have a specific date.
Okay. So are there any questions from the council regarding this issue? Is there any public testimony regarding this issue? Sorry. Yes.
It's the southern half of the town. It's everything, if I went outside and pointed that direction, it's everything that direction and everything that direction.
South of I-30.
Yeah, but not just L3,
Not
I mean,
just
starting right out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the council? Okay, is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll second.
Motion is second, please vote. Okay, and it passes unanimously. Resolution 8C, consideration and action on a resolution appointing members of a citizen advisory committee to assist the Greenville Council in redistricting of the city's political boundaries. And this goes back to exactly what Daniel just said, to ensure once these district lines are drawn, these precincts are drawn, to make sure a citizens committee to review this and make sure it's fair and equitable, I think. Does that summarize essentially what this committee is to do?
That's correct. This is an exercise in putting more eyeballs on it. So it's not just some law firm in Austin that's making decisions here. It's people who are local and understand the way neighborhoods work together.
Right, okay. Is there public testimony regarding this? If not, are there any questions from the council regarding this before we name our candidates that will go on this committee? Any questions? So if not being any questions, I'll ask place one, Mr. Thomas, to name his nominee.
My nominee is Glover George.
Okay,
Place 2 nominee will be Wayne Morris.
okay,
Place 3 will be Cecilia Barr.
okay. And I have 3 nominees. I'm going to name Betty Monday and Dr. Philip Dukes and Dobrito Rodriguez. And Tim, I guess I can do on his behalf, he's nominating Holly London. Did he want me to do that or not?
Shaking his head yes.
Okay, good,
Place 5 nominee will be Brent Money.
okay,
Place 6, nominate Milton Babb.
okay. City Secretary, did you get all those nominations?
Yes,
If you
thank
did,
you.
please, then is there a motion regarding this resolution?
A motion to approve?
You moved, okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is second, please vote. Okay, and it passes unanimously. And I assume when these, for those members of the committee, I don't know that any of them are here tonight. Well, I see Betty is here. I'm sure the city secretary will be notifying you when the appropriate meeting will be. I'm sure she'll collect the emails and there'll be appropriate notices of this process. So you'll be notified in the future. Right now, I don't think we know when it will be. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. Would you please read the consent calendar?
City Council meeting minutes from September 14th and September 17th. Ordinances approving annual contracts for aluminum sulfate, crushed stone, fill sand, liquid chlorine, pest control services, polymer, sandy loam topsoil, and water sewer supplies. Resolution readopting guidelines and criteria for reinvestment zones for purposes of tax abatement.
Okay. Is the council, first of all, is there public testimony on any of these issues on the consent calendar? Not being any, is the council comfortable with voting all of these as a package of item A, B, and C? You are? Is there any discussion regarding those issues? If not, is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept the consent calendar.
Okay, motion, is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion to second, please vote. And it passes unanimously. In your packet, you have city staff and city council reports, the August financials. Talia, you want to go over those? Okay, we're going to get GP go over them. Good. Summer, you want to introduce your new staff member? I don't think you have yet, have you?
No, I don't think so. No, this is GP Ippolito. Introduce him. He just started with us about 2 weeks ago, and has been training with Talia and kind of drinking from a fire hydrant, basically. So kind of getting him. So I'll let him present the financials, and if y'all have any questions for him, give him some questions.
On behalf of the council, welcome to the city.
Thank you. Thank you, Summer. City Council and Mayor, today I'll be presenting the comprehensive monthly financial report as of August 31st, 2021, 92% through the year. So this is a review of the general fund. To begin, I'll start with the revenues. We're at $31.2 million, or 119% of expected collections year to date. For our expenditures, we're at around $25 million, or 91% of budgeted expectations. So in the revenue pot, one of our bigger one is going to be property taxes, which is at $8.7 million, and then sales tax is shortly behind it at $8.4 million. I would like to point out, too, that we've received $1.3 million of CARES Act and $3.5 million of ARPA funding, which are both related to COVID-related funds, and that's in our other revenue section, so that's kind of why we're inflated there at 119% of the expected collections for the year. And right now, we have that money collected, but we do not have it funded out for anything as of yet. For our expenditures, our biggest pot there is public safety at $13.7 million, I believe. And that's a review of the general fund.
Right.
Now we'll go into the sales tax, year-to-date through August. Again, this is the year-to-date slide. Sales tax collections are up to $1.2 million, or 15.32% compared to August 2020 of last year. And this chart here just kind of tracks that out, how we've done this year with tax allocations since 2011, year by year, 2021 being the last one. Year-to-date, we are at, again, $8.1 million. Actual sales tax 20 to 21. So right now we're positive $249,000 above our budgeted amount. So now anything here collected the rest of the year is just above what we budgeted for, which is good news.
And we have one more month. Is that right? Okay.
Yep. Now this is looking at the sales tax as far as the month itself, as opposed to year to date. The period collections were $885,000 remitted for August 2021, and that's an increase of 13.12 compared to August of 2020 last year. With this month, it's kind of reported on a little bit of a lag. It's collected in June, reported in July, and then received in August by the city. Here's a historical look on that August sales tax. And again, this is just year by year. This is the water and sewer fund revenues review through August. Right now, our water and sewer fund revenues are $13.4 million, or 86% of budgeted expectations. And then this graph breaks it out top to bottom from sales and income, or in reservoir water. My apologies, I'm having difficulty reading that top line. And then breaks it out down below into the other sections as well. The very bottom one is the water and sewer fund revenues. This is the hotel motel occupancy tax. Right now, the green line is 2018-2019, red line is 19-20, and you'll see that dip is due to COVID. And then blue line is where we're at now. We've recovered well since last year, and it's increased 85% compared to August of last year.
Okay, are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then we have the comprehensive monthly financial report, which that's the same thing, right? Yeah. And the monthly status report. So move to that.
All right, thank you, Mayor. At the last council meeting, we talked about kind of giving you guys an update on some things that we're working on. So this report is just pretty short right now, but as we kind of continue to work on some projects, the big projects obviously being the $50 million street bond, the $50 million raw water line, and some other things. The mayor specifically asked for the trash complaints, which we get an update from Juice on a monthly basis. So this is going to be as of today. So obviously it's going to be for August. Press and his group also gave us some updates on some pothole repairs, some mowing that we've been doing through the past couple of months. So this report is going to kind of grow as we go. So it could get a little bit long as long as you guys would like it. So what this just shows, Juice sends us this, and this will talk about the complaints. It goes through a series of first complaints, second complaints, third complaints, fourth complaints. Obviously, we don't want to get down to the seventh complaint, but we do have a few of those. But if you'll look here in July, the first complaints were here, almost up to 300. That's just for the month, so that's pretty high. That's at the time that they were without communicating through us, which we've addressed that with them on several occasions. Had a couple meetings with them, about not picking up the bulk on the certain days that they were going to pick it up and those kind of things. So those complaints kind of escalated. They've gone back to the service the way it was, and we've been kind of moving forward and just dealing. So if you look at the August complaints, they dropped down to about half, to about 150 first complaints. And then those kind of trailed, the other second, third, and fourth complaints trailed off as well. I would suspect, I don't know this yet because Juice won't send me that obviously till September's over, that this would go down as well to a lower number to kind of average out. So those complaints are there. So those are the Waste Connections complaints. Those are just complaints, not anything specific.
I have a question on that, really to kind of address Ms. Rose's comments and citizens to be heard about her trash pickup. Shouldn't she be calling Juice instead of calling Waste Connections directly?
Well, that's something, Waste Connections
Because her calls aren't logged here, right? This report is
if she's
generated.
calling Waste Connections directly, no, her calls would not be logged here.
Right.
If she's not calling Juice, on this second time around, she's gone back and forth and called Juice several times and then didn't get any answers, and then that's when it came to my office. This second time around,
Yeah.
it didn't come to my office.
I
And Ben
talk
can talk to you a little
I
bit.
talk to Ms. Rose frequently, as does Tim, and she almost always calls both.
I don't know that she did this time.
I don't know.
She
I'm
didn't
not sure
tell
about
me
this
either
time.
way this time, so I'm not sure if she called both.
She usually calls Juice, gets the runaround, calls Waste Connections, gets another runaround, and then she tells me.
Can we get a copy from Waste Connections of the complaints?
Yeah, we surely can.
Okay.
Yeah, as a part of their contract, they're supposed to require that for us. So
Okay.
we certainly can if we request it. So, and I'm working on that as part of that. And working, Ben made me aware of Ms. Rose's issues earlier in the week, or I think it was last week. And so,
Notwithstanding Ben's comments, isn't Juice really better equipped with a call center to accommodate those calls?
well, yes, but in Waste Connections contract, they're required to have a customer service aspect of it as well. And sometimes there's things that Juice can answer as to why they didn't pick it up and when they will be able to pick it up, unless they specifically contact me, and then I call Robert, and then that's when we actually kind of get results. Because when you're talking to Waste Connections customer service, that customer service center is in McKinney. So they don't know our streets, they don't know what's around her, they don't know that she needs to place it not on Park Street, but on the side street.
Right.
Because that's an issue, and she's not the only one that has that issue on Park Street. I've had other complaints that we've had to get straightened out, because if you put it on Park Street, it's a Tuesday, Friday pickup. If you put it on the side streets, it's a Wednesday, Saturday pickup. So if they're putting it on both places, they're getting picked up 4 times a week, possibly, so that could happen. But
She's just trying to make up for the many months of.
sure, and I understand. I don't have a problem with that, her being picked up. But so they, as far from what I've been told from Waste Connection, I've communicated with Robert, but they've drawn a hard line, and that's the way it is. And the other folks, I haven't had any other complaints since they kind of drew that hard line about a month ago, as far as the side streets and Park Street. Because if you don't know, you don't know. So. And that's that communication piece that needs to be better from them as well. So I'm addressing that with Waste Connections specifically. So
From a support standpoint, it seems like maybe the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's
I
doing.
believe so. That's my assumption.
And if you
So-
look at her calls, there's no thread of all her calls. If she's calling Juice one time and
right,
Actually,
yeah.
she kept a pretty detailed call log for a number of months. on paper.
Okay, she's got the log.
And Juice has, I mean.
Well, I
if
imagine
she's-
she does, but I'm talking
Yeah.
a normal customer, if they're alternating
yeah.
between, wouldn't have a thread of
And
their
if she's
complaints.
calling Juice and notifying that she did contact Waste Connections, Juice will put that in the notes. They've, I mean, I think you've seen those notes, but they've got extensive notes that their customer service is required to put in there. Because, you know, their task at the Juice to have, you know, first contact resolution, when that person contacts you, they have to resolve it right then and there. And that's what Alicia's challenged them with. So when they can't resolve it because of a Waste Connections issue, that's when it gets to my office. And so that's something we have to work through and we have to fix. We've got to fix that. So.
A similar, like, just an example of this kind of element is that Waste Connections is supposed to leave a tag on the bin if they
Yes.
don't pick it up for some reason. And from what I've heard, they almost never do. And so people don't know what's going on, and my trash didn't get picked up.
Right.
And so they call
That-
Juice, and Juice
yeah.
doesn't know about the tags.
Okay.
Well, yeah, well, about a couple, I want to go back maybe 3 weeks ago, I got notified that they got the tags in and they're supposed to be using them going forward.
Okay.
But personally, mine didn't get picked up even after they had the tags, and I didn't
got
know
one
why,
tag, I know.
so I left it out. It was too heavy, the little guy couldn't get it, I don't know what
I
it was.
messed
but-
If it was last Wednesday, mine didn't get picked up either.
Yeah,
We're in the
so,
same
and
area.
that's the communication piece, and they're required to put those tags on there. So if they're
Right.
not, then that's something we need to know so that I can let Robert know that his drivers are not doing that. And if anything happens, every single one of those trucks has a camera on it. So if they don't pick up for a reason or don't do a tag, then we can go back, but I need to know pretty quickly because those videos, they don't keep them forever. So that's something I need to know pretty quickly so that I can call them on that, and then we have it documented that we contacted them and going forward.
Do you know how long they keep?
I don't know, I think we did something with in place one, and I think we needed to go back like 2 weeks, and that was too far. So I
Okay.
need to know within a couple of days.
Okay.
I don't know the exact time, but I
Right.
want to say, there was something I addressed, and I want to say it was 2 weeks, and he said I can't go back that far, but I can go back to the time before, or
A
the
few
time
days.
after that. So I want to say it's 2 weeks, but I'll get it exact from Robert to find
Okay.
out. But if you can just let me know as quick as possible, at least we can get it documented and sent to him. And he pulls it pretty quickly and lets me know either that same day or that very next morning if something had happened, if we get a complaint. Because we get a couple of those, and then we can see exactly what happened. I mean, that camera will tell him exactly. You can see why they didn't pick it up or why they did pick it up or whatever happened. We can see pretty much everything on those cameras, and they're pretty good about it. And they snap still shots as well.
I have a question. Out of these complaints from July, the first attempt, are these valid complaints?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's when they were not picking up the bulk, which they did not communicate to us, so we couldn't communicate to anybody. They weren't picking up the bulk, and there was, when the trash can lids were just barely open, they wouldn't pick those up because they said they were too
Yeah.
full.
Bad
So
about that.
that's when they started doing that without notifying us.
Yeah.
So of course, the complaint skyrocketed because they said, why didn't they pick, and they weren't tagging. They weren't tagging it, so at that time, they had a long sheet that it took forever for the driver to fill out, and so we said, we'll just condense it into one little thing, and you got a couple options. He just marks it, places it on your toter, and then you go about and he can go on about his business. It doesn't take hours for customer service to try to figure out why it wasn't picked up. So yes, those are valid complaints.
Okay.
I would say they were valid, so.
And just to add something, Summer sent me some information once on a complaint I had in place one. I was unaware that the trucks had the camera.
Yeah.
You sent me that information, and it disclosed that the complainant actually had 2 trash barrels when they should have had 1.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we're working on doing an audit with them so that we can have all that, because there's so many of those older toters out there, and some have 2 and are not paying for 2, some have, and recycling's another issue that we can talk about with the subcommittee, because that's an issue that they deal with, obviously. And so there's a few things that we could talk about with the neighborhood committee that would be helpful, so.
Any other questions about Waste Connections? Summer, that's an excellent explanation of what's happening. I'm surprised.
we'll keep
You
working on
command a
it.
lot of
Yeah.
issues right there.
Yeah,
I'm
there's quite a
impressed.
few. There's quite a few. We deal with them on a daily basis, so yes.
Okay.
Okay, talking about utility cuts, these are the contractor utility cuts. If you guys will remember, you guys, the transportation department, I apologize, not the street department, but the transportation committee hired the contractor to help out with the bigger utility cuts and kind of get those taken care of, and the big water breaks to kind of help us out. So this is kind of the first month. If you'll look in August, there was about 10, and then if you'll look in September, they've done 50 so far. So that's in process. It's going well, and that's I think Press gave this to me 2 weeks ago, so there could be even more because weather's been pretty good for September. There hasn't been much rain, so they've been able to fix quite a few. Hopefully you've noticed a little bit around town. Potholes, these are going to be the in-house repairs that are done by our own street crews. So back in August, you'll see the number 5 there, and then it jumped up in September. So far, as of this time, we've done about 15 of those potholes, and I suspect that's probably more right now. So that's just, we'll keep going through that process, and our crews will keep fixing the smaller ones that are a little bit easier to fix. And I know sometimes we get complaints about potholes and we're only fixing certain number ones, but if it's a section that has quite a few, then that's going to probably need a more extensive repair, and then we put that on the schedule and it goes forward. So they just kind of, these guys are just fixing what's immediately causing, tire issues or things like that, or the smaller ones. So that's what these guys are doing.
Well, is this something that maybe we should look at bringing in some outside help to expedite some of the potholes? Because what did we have?
We need to.
Hundreds of potholes on the list to be repaired?
You remember a number?
Wasn't it 300?
We need to bed over there.
Or they're talking about just potholes.
Till they catch the bigger ones.
Oh, okay.
One of the problems we have with potholes right now is we can't get asphalt. Both asphalt plants are shut down for the next week and a half. And that's been one of our biggest problems, is getting the material. And I cut this month off the 15th of the month to give us time to get it to summer, to get it into the presentation. So, we've got more potholes done, but we probably had the same amount. We probably had 300 or 400, if not more. So it's.
You got that in my
But we're just
section.
really getting started with this. And like I said, a lot of our problems, and I'm not making excuses, but we can't get asphalt.
Right, moving into the winter months, we'll certainly see weather impacts in that as far as this. So, I mean, we sold the citizens on the bond and everything else, and we gave additional funding for potholes, and I was just hoping we could blitz them the best we can and get some.
We are, and like I said, we're just now really get it into sequence, get it going. I think you're seeing a lot faster response when we notified of potholes. We go check them out. We try to fix them right away. Some of them are temporary fixes because they are larger, but we go ahead and fix them temporarily till we can come back and do a permanent fix on them. So we do try to make everything drivable as soon as we're made aware of it.
Okay, thank you.
Do you, I know with the Transportation Committee, you presented the procedure or strategy for doing those, which is to cut out that old pothole, not just dump hot mix in it, but to cut it out and then smooth it over. Are we doing that with the potholes now?
Absolutely. We have the roller out.
Okay.
Yeah. Some, like I said, are temporary.
So it's seamless?
Yes. I mean,
Okay,
the
when they're
ones we
finished.
did, right there on Pickett Street? Well, anyway, it was about 8 by 10, and, we brought the roller out, rolled it over. It's nice and smooth, so.
Well, I'm talking about just a garden variety pothole that's this big.
No, we do. We cut them out, clear, get them down to good material. If it's real bad, we do flowable fill in them and then do the asphalt. So we're doing them right.
Okay. Thank you.
Al, to answer your question, we certainly could hire a contractor to do additional, to speed that process up if that's what the Transportation Subcommittee would like to do. We just have to bring that before you guys, so.
With what?
I'd like to discuss this in the Transportation Subcommittee. She's offering, if the subcommittee wants to talk about it, maybe bring in some additional help.
I want more discussion about it.
Yeah, we all need to talk about it.
City Secretary, can you organize a meeting sometime, the next one is convenient for everybody. Next, whenever. All pretty busy. Okay.
Okay, let's see, street sweeping, this is just kind of giving you an idea of the street sweeping, the miles that they've done. August 21, and then September did quite a few street sweeping. Obviously, the weather plays an impact. We do have one gentleman that just works the street sweeper, so he has a schedule that he sticks to. We do pull him off that schedule. Obviously, 2 weeks ago when we did the bike ride, we had certain areas that we wanted him to specifically street sweep. And so we did do that, those specific areas. And if there is a specific area that is not swept, then we can also provide that with him. But he is on that machine every single day and going through a schedule that he sticks to, and he enjoys it quite a bit. Mowed areas, and this is just going to be for public works. When you're talking about the Long Branch, and then right-of-way clearing is a little bit smaller. In press, takes you about a week to do Long Branch. Yeah, it takes, well, depending on the weather too, I don't know, I know the Long Branch gets pretty high, and what you don't see underneath that is it's pretty wet underneath there. So it takes a pretty skilled operator to kind of work those banks of the Long Branch to kind of get that taken care of. And so that's using the bigger equipment to do on that Long Branch. We do the Long Branch probably twice a year. Yeah, we do it twice a week. We're required to do it twice a year, and they come and check on us and do that. And then the right-of-way clearing, we've got not only Public Works does right-of-way, but our Parks Department does a lot of right-of-ways. There's a lot of right-of-ways that belong to TxDOT that we do, just because it's some of those parts they only mow twice a year. Sometimes those parts get dangerous. So we have a plan to get all of those departments. We have a list that Public Works does, that Parks does, and it takes some time. Obviously, when they're growing season, it grows a lot faster. We've asked the Sheriff Department to help us with some prisoner inmates, so that's a plan that we're exploring. We're working with Daniel on getting an MOU together with the county for that to happen. That will help us do some of those smaller areas where we can't necessarily get a bigger tractor. We don't have the manpower to get there, that just have to be weed eated by hand. And we just don't have the manpower to do that. And our abatement crews mainly stick to the lot abatements, the city lots, the ones that we're charging to be mowed that aren't being mowed on the private property. So they mainly stick to that. They do help us when we do need help. They work Monday through Thursday, so they do help us on those. So we do have a plan with right-of-way. It's not perfect right now, but we're kind of working through that. And so hopefully when we get to it, and thankfully the growing season has slowed down, so thankfully it's slowing down, I should say. And so that'll slow down. We'll kind of get caught up, and then when we hit the growing season next year, we'll be ready to go. Our boom mower will be ready to go in those areas. So that's a concern that we're addressing kind of on a daily basis as well.
That was going to be my question, circling back to the lady that appeared at Citizens to be heard about the ditch there by the cedars. Is our boom mower back in service or repaired and ready to go?
It's not yet. The parts came in on the 17th, and they're repairing it as we speak. So
Okay.
Do we have an ETA when we're going to get that back? Yeah, we haven't heard when we get that back, but it should be, they told us it would be a couple of weeks. So they got the parts on the 17th, and so it should be a couple of weeks. So we should be getting it any day now. So once we get that, then we'll get that back in service, and that'll save us a lot of time, obviously, getting into places. I don't know if it can handle that one. I'll have to have press make sure.
Hopefully we can do something to help the lady out.
Once we get that back online, can we get some communication out to the community that we got it back up? We hear you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Need something. Yeah.
Any other questions? I think that's. Oh, and here's just a little snapshot on the intersections cleared. Like I said, they do clear some of those intersections. If there's something, where you're trying to make a turn, you can't see around things, and those are the intersections that we clear to make sure. Some of it's ours, some of it's not, but we do it just to make it safe, because even sometimes in my car, you can't see over some of those things. So I'll call those guys, and they'll clear those intersections. So. And then also on our traffic department, the signs that are replaced. So in August, it looks like he replaced 2. And then September, it jumped up to 16, and he does those in-house. So he gets the blanks, makes those. He's got a new machine that the city council approved a couple years ago that he does that in-house and kind of replacing those signs. And if there's any signs that you guys see around town, just shoot us a note, let us know, and we can replace it. Obviously, we've got 2 guys in the traffic department, so they can't be everywhere all the time. So if you guys see something, then by all means, send it to us, and we'll get it replaced as soon as possible to get that fixed and stuff like that. I tell him stuff all the time, so I know he gets tired of hearing from me.
Is our overall goal to get all the signs changed in the city or updated?
Just the ones that need it, and that are old and not reflective like they should be. There's certain regulations that they have to have, so. And then some signs, obviously when cars hit them and things like that and they get knocked down, then obviously we replace those. But I don't know that we have a goal to replace every single sign, just the ones that are needed.
Okay.
So, and try to be on a proactive basis instead of reactive when they're too old.
Okay.
If there's any, I'll answer any other questions if y'all have any.
I appreciate this report, and I hope we'll see everything obviously improve in the future as this all settles in, and
Yeah.
look forward to seeing this on a monthly basis.
In the future, once we start moving on the raw water line and the street bond, and all those kind of good things, then that'll be included on this report. We do have a section on our website that talks about the roads and kind of where we are in the design process and where we are in the construction process, and Bridget updates that as soon as she gets updates from Public Works, so we'll try to keep that as up-to-date as possible so that they can also visit that as well. So that'll be helpful, but we'll include those statistics on here as well. So,
What's the website?
Oh, go ahead.
huh?
What's the website?
Oh, you're gonna ask me off the top of my head? I don't know off the top of my head. Just go to our main page, and then there's a box down at the bottom, a blue box that says roads and streets. Click on that, it'll give you everything.
So we're going to include this information on the website as well?
No, I hadn't thought about including this. That just include, this will be on the agenda. It's
It'll be
in the packet, so
Okay.
if you'd like me to include it anywhere else, I certainly could. So,
It might be something for the citizens to reference to see how we're improving and getting
Okay.
things done. So.
I'll talk to Bridget and we can add that section. We can
Okay,
do that.
thank you.
When this machine get ready to start doing grass and stuff like, is it going to backtrack to areas where they haven't been before?
Like where they were scheduled to previously before?
Yeah, like
Yes.
over on Sale Street, off of Edgar and Cedar, grass is 15 feet high over
Yes.
in that area.
Yes, we'll get to all
And on Cedar, there's a hole in the street, across the street, right in where the bridge is. That hole been there for a year. Had nobody touched it or anything. I gave it to
Cedar
Miss.
Street?
On Cedar.
Cedar?
I gave it to Miss Carroll to give to the street department, and they put a cone out there, but nothing has been happening. And a kid come through there and fall in that hole right there, coming across the bridge. That's been there for a whole year. So it takes a year for that to get done? I just need to,
I don't
I'm
know
kind
the
of frustrated
I don't know
about
the
this.
answer. We'd have to look into it.
Huh?
I don't know that answer as why it wasn't done.
Well, and over on Gibbons, I drove over that with my truck, and my back end hit the ground. A hole that big. So I'm just trying to figure out when this money going to go through to start fixing these streets, and how long that's going to take. Another 3 months before they get started?
Well, it depends. We'll have to, we're still in the middle of the paver analysis, and then once that, we'll take it to the transportation subcommittee, and those streets will be prioritized, and then it'll be decided, and then it'll come before council.
Okay, over there on Seminole and Gamecock and Colonia, they get new streets, completely new streets, curves and everything. Apparently, they getting asphalt. Talk to me. I want to know. They getting asphalt. I went over there and looked. They getting asphalt. He said that he can't get none, but they getting to redo all of those streets, and a lot of those streets don't even need to be done. They don't even have a hole, but they getting done. That's the problem that I'm having to try to understand when my district got big crater holes, but other places where they don't even need to do the street, they doing them, but it takes 3 or 4 months for them to even start on my side of town. So, that's frustrating to me. I know it's in the budget to do it, but does it take 3 months or 4 months to start? That's what I'm saying.
Nothing's happened with the street bond today.
Huh?
Nothing has happened to the street bond except utility cuts and potholes.
Well, what they doing over here on Seminole and Game Creek? They doing a complete
I don't
overhaul.
know, but I would
Is it city crews?
I don't know, but they doing Seminole, Gamecock, Colony, Volunteer.
Let press come up and answer your question, please.
That area was part of our original plan for the $50 million street bond. That was an area that we were trying to catch before it disintegrated completely. We go through the pavement analysis, we looked at it, we could catch those streets, and if you remember when I showed you all that pavement deterioration curve, we were right there at the critical point, so we said we can hit that area, rejuvenate those streets, correct them, we'll get another 20 years of life out of them. Some of these bigger utility cuts that you're talking about,
Yep.
we've identified them, we've put them on our contractor's list to do. He's running about a week or two, on his schedule. I think we gave him like 15 cuts this week to do. He's getting them done. So if you called it in and Ms. Carroll sent it to us, it's on our list to do. They're doing as fast as they can, but the same thing I'm running into with our contractor, he can't get asphalt either. He called us today and said, I got 5 utility cuts, I'm ready for asphalt, I can't get it. I said, safe it up the best you can, and as soon as we get asphalt, we'll get it put down, hot mix, get it rolled and done it correctly. So as soon as we hear the complaints, we know a lot of the areas that you're talking about. A lot of that, we have the water and sewer has to be done. Water and sewer is falling apart, we have leaks, we have breakage in them, so we've got contractors already starting now to do our utility replacements so we can come in and do the street repairs. I'm not going to repair the street with the water and sewer substandard. It's a waste of time and money, and we talked about this. We're going to fix the roads right, get the water and sewer and drainage done properly, so when we do the street, it'll have the service life we talk about.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. We're just now getting this program started. We were in the initial stages of it. I had to time this thing because we sold the bonds on the 15th of September. Our money's not available till October 14th. So we've got everything timed so we can get work done.
Okay.
So when invoices come in, we'll have the money there to pay them and keep them going. But we've got 7 contractors under contract, ready to go to work. They've been stockpiling material for us. They've been locking prices in for us. So we're moving as fast as logically we can do right now.
Okay.
Do you have any more questions, Kenneth?
No, sir.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Summer? Okay. The final item on the agenda then, thank you for that report, is City Council discussion of proposed agenda items. Are there any items that the City Council would like to have discussed with city staff or at the next meeting?
No.
Okay, if there being none, you have before you the board and commission minutes of the Greenville Board of Development meeting on August 17th, 2021. And with that, we have no executive session tonight, so this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate it.
The recipe for great food is simple. Make it fresh. Wings to go in Greenville, where every order is a custom order made with fresh ingredients. Wings to go, 7818 Wesley Street in Greenville. Simply great wings.
Need a part for the right price? Look for that red and blue sign. Henley Auto Supply at 1510 Stonewall. Over 800,000 CarQuest parts to choose from. Domestic, European, and Asian parts. Henley Auto Supply at 903-455-1969. 455-1969. Henley Auto Supply has the right part to keep your vehicle running. And backed by the best hometown service. Henley Auto Supply. Great people, great products, great prices. Henley Auto Supply and CarQuest.